Guess who's back, ladies and gentlemen? That is Ricky Scoops, as he made his return to social media today to drop a couple of trade nuggets. We'll react to those. Plus, hit a little rapid fire on some other trade rumors circulating as we are 5 days away from the NFL trade deadline. My name is Harrison Graham. This is for Verts. Ricky Scoops, if you're unaware, the People's Insider. He's this anonymous figure on Twitter who clearly has sources for over a year now. He's been dropping various scoops here and there. Here's what he had to say today. Here's what his first report. He said that the Patriots will be adding a new running back via trade by Tuesday, which is the day of the deadline. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Happy Halloween, #NEPats. My honestly first reaction to this is, what's going on with TreVeyon Henderson? TreVeyon Henderson was a highly sought after draft target for a lot of teams at the running back position. The Patriots took him in the first round, 38th overall, and he's just not been used that much. He only has 53 carries, averaging about 4.3 yards per carry, 228 in total. I think the receiving part of it is the most surprising part for a couple of reasons. One, I thought that was a big attribute of his game coming out of Ohio State. He's really good with the ball in space. And two, Josh McDaniels historically loves throwing the ball to running backs. You think about a lot of those Tom Brady Patriots offenses over the year, throwing the ball to James White and players like that over the years. And to not even get that out of Henderson has been a disappointment. Now, a big attribute of his coming out of school, too, was in pass pro, and he has struggled there, so maybe that's why he's not getting on the field, but I have been surprised by that. Another angle here could be that you lost Antonio Gibson for the year, and Ramondre Stevenson has missed the last 2 days of practice dealing with the toe issue. There's rumors of turf toe, and if that's the case, he could miss extended time, so we'll see what's going on there. But I think regardless, something's felt weird with TreVeyon all year, and the fact that the Patriots seem poised to add a running back here, I think is a pretty big indicator that they don't love where he's at this point in his rookie season. Some running backs to monitor between now and the deadline. Breece Hall with the Jets. Now, would the Jets trade him within the division? I would think the Patriots would have to pay a premium for that. Tony Pollard's a potential name to watch out for Tennessee. Jerome Ford is a big physical back that in 23 and 24 was pretty productive, but he's kind of lost in the shuffle behind their two rookies, Quinshon Judkins and obviously Dylan Sampson as well. And then the two Carolina running backs, I wonder, would they be willing to move off of one of Chuba Hubbard or Rico Dowdle? Obviously, last year they extended Hubbard, but Dowdle has been fantastic, and he might be a piece they want to commit to long term. So we'll see if Carolina moves one of their guys. My guess for New England here is that Jerome Ford ends up being the guy just because he might cost the least and they might swing and miss on a couple other guys. So keep an eye on him. Subscribe to the channel. We are getting closer and closer to our goal of 13,000 subscribers by the trade deadline. That is our goal. We got 5 days to do it. We're less than 350 subs away, 331 away to be exact. Help us out. We'll have all trade buzz covered between now and the deadline, and obviously if there's any big deadline moves, we'll have that covered as well. Okay, excuse me. Another one from Ricky, and he's kind of been leaning into the Halloween theme. Boo, he says. The Cowboys and 49ers are both expected to add defensive linemen before Tuesday's trade deadline. Okay, so let's just explore some defensive linemen that have been rumored on the trade market. Won't include Max Crosby here, but there was that report that Dallas was interested in him. So they're thinking potentially big fish. Could Trey Hendrickson re-enter the fold? Now, he's dealing with a hip issue right now. Unclear if he's going to play Sunday against Chicago. Has not practiced this week. Jermaine Johnson seems like he's staying with the Jets, but he's been a name that's out there. Sounds like the Dolphins will likely trade one of Jaelan Phillips or Bradley Chubb. More on them later on. Kayvon Thibodeaux is a name that's been circled out there. Arden Key, Arnold Ebiketie, Matt Judon, Anfernee Jennings, Cam Jordan. I don't know if he wants to leave New Orleans, but he's out there. A few defensive tackles. Quinnen Williams. It sounds like the Jets don't want to trade him, but if they got a big enough offer, they would consider it. Shelby Harris, more of a vet there that a team could add. Calais Campbell, kind of an edge defensive tackle, tweener hybrid, versatile guy, still productive despite being 38, 39 years old. He could be kind of a backup option for one of these teams. Now, when it comes to the Cowboys, I mean, let's face it, without Micah Parsons, they've been a disaster. Sure, they got 2 first-round picks. They got Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark's been fine. Mozzie Smith, their first-round pickup a couple years ago, has been terrible. They're getting nothing off the edge with Sam Williams and that crew. So whether it's now, next offseason, they're going to have to bolster that pass rush with somebody. At 3, 4, and 1, do they make a big move right now, or do they kind of go with more of like a middle of the road move, like kind of a rotation type of piece? We'll have to wait and see what Jerry is thinking, but maybe it depends on what happens in their next game in terms of whether or not they're willing to pull the trigger. We'll talk about the 49ers in a second, plus some other trade targets and rumors that are circulating as well. But first, got to tell you about our awesome sponsor, Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. It's very easy to navigate the Prize Picks app, as you can toggle by sports and then specific stats as you start to make your lineups. You just pick more or less on stat projections for 2 to 6 player lineups, and if you hit, you win money. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. For this upcoming weekend, a little 3-player lineup I'm working with. I got more on Caleb Williams' pass yards, less on Chase Brown's rushing yards, and more on DeAndre Swift's rushing yards. He's a little banged up, so if he were to get hurt in the first half of that game, that would just turn into a 2-player lineup, injury insurance offered with Prize Picks, or if he doesn't play at all, that would just revert to a 2-player lineup as well. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups. Once you play your first $5 lineup, that is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Okay, 49ers mentioned in that report from Ricky Scoops. They're looking for defensive line help as well. As a whole, they've dealt with a ton of injuries, but especially on the defensive line. I mean, obviously, you're not replacing Nick Bosa. The closest to that would be a Trey Hendrickson type, but even he's not as good as Bosa. Bryce Huff is out right now. Sounds like he'll be back, but for now, he's sidelined. Jordan Elliott's been out. Yetur Gross-Matos has been out. Sam, I will call him, is out. And then Taron Jackson dealing with an injury as well. Michael Williams, the rookie's kind of been in and out of the lineup too. He's playing right now, so that's good. But they have been peppered with injuries early on this season. They need pass rush help if they're going to make some kind of run. I mean, they're 5-3, but it's a crowded NFC. Like, they could make the playoffs with what they have, but I don't think they could win multiple playoff games, right? Like, I think it's currently constructed, even if they get some of those offensive pieces back, like Brock Purdy, obviously, Brandon Ayuk, maybe you win a playoff game, but I don't think they have enough, especially on defense, to make a push. You get a Trey Henderson, that could change things. So we'll see how aggressive they get. We'll see who's truly available as we get closer and closer to that November 4th deadline. Speaking of Trey Hendrickson, will he get traded? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I think it depends on 2 things. 1, how severe is this hip injury? 2, do the Bengals lose on Sunday? If they beat the Bears and they're 4-5, my guess is they'll hang on to them and try to make a push. If they lose, I don't know if I said lose. I meant to say if they beat the Bears, they'll probably hang on to them. If they lose, I could see them trading him if he's healthy enough to get moved, because you're 3-6. You lost the Jets last week. Then it would be the Bears. You're probably not getting back into the playoff picture at that point. They probably just shut Joe Burrow down. So if you're in the camp of wanting Trey Hendrickson to get traded, cheer against Cincinnati on Sunday. Okay, more trade nuggets. We briefly mentioned Miami earlier. Sounds like they're not going to be major sellers, more like soft sellers as they're being labeled. Like, they might trade away a piece or two, but they're not going to trade Jalen Waddle. They're not trading Devon Achane. That has been shut down pretty significantly. Now, it does appear that they are likely to trade one of Bradley Chubb or Jaelan Phillips, probably depending on offers and a couple other factors, so keep an eye on that. But this is not a fire sale situation. Now, I would disagree with that mindset if I was running the Dolphins, especially if they lose tonight to the Ravens. They'll be 2-7. Their season will be over, but I'm not in charge, and that's what's being reported right now. Okay, add another name to the Saints trade candidates list. Cesar Ruiz, the guard apparently could be had for the right price. I don't know what that would be. Maybe a middle round pick, third, fourth rounder. He's pretty good. I think he's got some center flex too. I'd have to double check. But good interior offensive lineman. Add him to the list. Obviously, the 3 receivers, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks. Sounds like Olave is more likely to stay at this point, and that one of Shaheed or Cooks, or potentially both those guys could move, but I think they want to keep Olave long term. Alontae Taylor is another player to monitor there. We did mention, obviously, earlier the veteran Cameron Jordan. That's probably more of an Alvin Kamara situation where he wants to stay with the Saints, but maybe he would sign off on a trade if it went to a true contender. But Ruiz is an interesting name where not many offensive linemen have been mentioned. So if a team needs an interior guy, maybe he could be the guy that gets moved. Okay, the Lions want pass rush help. They obviously extended Aiden Hutchinson, but remember last year they added Zadarius Smith. Move like that. Day 3 pick for a rotation guy. Thinking Arnold Ebiketie and Arden Key, someone like that as we revisit this list. I don't think they're going to be in the Trey Hendrickson sweepstakes, but, could they take on like a Matt Judon, someone like that? I don't think they would go with someone they would keep long term. They've already extended and paid a lot of guys, so it would be a young controllable piece or a rental, I think, is what you're looking at here. So someone of that ilk, maybe an Anfernee Jennings to help their run defense. Okay, Colts want defensive back help. Makes sense. They've had a lot of corners go down. Juju Brents is out for the year. Charvarius Ward is on short-term IR. Could see that. There's been Buda Baker buzz if they want to add a piece at safety. He could be out there. So a couple names in positions to monitor. And then the Eagles, no shock, are in on everything. Howie Roseman, he's wheeling, he's dealing. He gets bored. He wants to make trades. So we'll see what Philadelphia ends up doing. They obviously brought Brandon Graham out of retirement. I could see them adding another pass rusher, potentially a DB as well. They traded for Michael Carter yesterday, so maybe that's their corner move, but that is where things sit with Philly as of now. Speaking of receivers, the receiver position, what about wide receiver? Because last year that was the big position, and it felt like a few weeks ago this year it's like, oh, Jakobi Meyers, Chris Olave, maybe even Jalen Waddle. Like, could this be a pretty busy and loud wide receiver trade market? Well, things have slowed down, even to the point where Jakobi Meyers getting traded, which I thought was a given, doesn't even feel like a given anymore, which is shocking, especially since they just signed Tyler Lockett. I still think he's the most likely of the notable names. Obviously, you got the Saints dudes, add Brandon Cooks to that as well. Jalen Hyatt, he wants out of New York. He was a healthy scratch recently. That feels like a pick swap. Some young team, take a flyer on a burner, or if some team who's a contender wants like a deep threat as a wide receiver 4, he could be a guy you take a flyer on. Allen Lazard, good blocking receiver. You wonder, would like the Steelers circle back to him as like a backup option? I think they want Jakobi Meyers, but if the Raiders don't budge for their price tag, maybe Lazard for a pick swap. Jets eat some of the money. They could bring him in. Someone who knows Aaron Rodgers, who's a willing blocker in the run game. I could see that, but doesn't seem as busy of a wide receiver market as potentially it could have been, or what it seemed to have possibly been a couple of weeks ago. All right, that's it for now. That's where things sit on the trade market. We are getting closer and closer, and toward the end of the week now, you're not going to see any real trades happen unless it's among a team who has a bye, probably between now and Sunday. So next Monday, next Tuesday, that's when the action's going to go down. Maybe Sunday night for teams who play in the early window Sunday. So keep an eye on that. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in into For Verts. We got a mock draft coming your way tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. We'll see you soon.